And welcome to another How To Plus Q&A event. My name is Anna-Mari Fanthorpe and I am your host as usual. So here today we have Andy Carruthers from Hardbasket. He's going to be talking about use technology to become the most productive person you know. Look, who doesn't want to be that? So I'm sure he's got heaps of stuff in store for us in this session. He's kind of a tools guy, so he knows all the apps and everything that you can use to make yourself more productive and streamline your processes. So I'm looking forward to all of the insight he's going to share today. Now, if you are streaming with us on one of our other platforms besides Zoom, so you might be with us on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section on those platforms, and I will be checking them throughout the session, and Andy will answer your questions. Just a quick note. Remember, we've got a comp running right now, so you could win it's a tablet and a year subscription to MYOB. All you have to do is log into Digital Boost or sign up to Digital Boost in order to have an entry into the comp that will end at the end of this month. So you got a bit of time. I suggest you get on it, because who doesn't want a little bit of new technology and a free subscription? I mean, really. Andy, welcome to Digital Boost once again. Looking forward to your session today.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, and I'm looking forward to sharing some different apps and some ways to make you and your business more productive. So
it's what you do. It's what you do. So I'm looking forward to it too. I'm going to drop off my video and let you drive, and I will make sure everything's running in the background.
Fantastic. All right.
I'll just stay on and make sure that your share screen's working. Cool.
All right. So today we're going to be going through some of the different apps that that people are using to help us make ourselves more productive. And look, we're in a time which is really exciting for small business to be able to have access to technology, which creates a competitive advantage for us against many of our competitors, and a lot of those competitors who are much bigger than us. With this new technology, we can now be more efficient, we can be more nimble, we can create better experiences for our team and for our customers. So love to answer your questions as we go through. If you've got any technology questions or problems, would love to solve some of those as we go. So just to kick us off, love to get your input on what apps and what technology you're using in your business at the moment. So if you go to slido.com, so just slido.com, and you'll get a prompt to enter a number, and the number is there on the screen. It's 182233. And in there, you'll be prompted to enter the name of one or many different apps. There's options. Each time you add a line, it will give you another line. So I'd love to get your input on which apps you're using, and we'll come back to that soon. And we'll have some examples around some of those specific apps and how you can use those apps and some of the features to become more productive and more efficient in your business. So today I'm going to be working through a few different examples with you to give you real life examples of how people are using new technology to make themselves more productive and more efficient. So just to start off with something that a business that most of us have possibly heard of. So New Zealand icon Icebreaker, and I don't know about you, but I own a bunch of Icebreaker gear. Love their clothing, and so I came across this example the other day where how Icebreaker are using some new technology to get really close to their customers. And so the technology that they're using Wufoo, which is now owned by SurveyMonkey. They're using Slack, and they're using one of my favorite tools, which is Zapier. And so in this example, we're just looking at how Icebreaker uses Zapier and Wufoo to get nice and close to their customers. So what Icebreaker are doing is they're looking for feedback from their customers, and what happens is they have a form which sits on their website, like many of us are using different forms to be able to get feedback or to be able to provide help to our customers. And the cool thing that Icebreaker are doing here is that when a customer submits one of these forms, they're then using Zapier to be able to take information from that form to filter the information out, depending on the different criteria we've got in the filter. So here, Icebreaker, they're a big worldwide business now. So first thing we're looking for is we want to filter out submissions that don't have any comments. In submissions that aren't in English, we want to are sent through so that they can be translated. And then they're sent through to the team's Slack channel. So the team are depending on what region they're in. So the team are using Slack as their communication channel. So what this is doing is it's meaning that all the comments and data are sent. They're also sent through to a spreadsheet as well, and the team get notified in Slack if the customer wants to be followed up. So look, this is just a really cool example of new technology being used to have the business be more productive and be able to get the information that they need to the right people. So the result that they've specifically talked about is that it helped just improve how we talk to our customers and prioritize and make sure that everyone in the team hears about hears from the customers every single day, which is great, keeping that communication loop going. So if you're using different forms and you're wanting to make sure that you're getting access to that information all the time that's coming in, or you need to share it with other people, there's a couple of ways you can do that. Okay, so thanks for submitting your apps. So what have we got here? Okay, so the way this works is that the bigger the words, the more people have voted for it. So Gmail is our biggest app, used app so far. We've got Xero in there. Quite a few people with Asana, Facebook, Trello. We've got a few, and then we've got lots of other apps with a smaller number of votes. So Judge Me product reviews, cool. pre-order alpha. That's one I haven't heard of. So it'd be great to hear some more about that. Instagram, HubDocs, ClickUp, MailChimp. Fantastic. So yeah, like the options that we now have for, different technology to be able to, make ourselves more efficient and, engage and connect with our customers is fantastic, and it just keeps growing. So great to see people using lots of those different apps. Okay, so moving to the next example that I've got for you, an example where we've got a home renovations company that was trying to scale and grow, and they're using a couple of different tools. One of those is Trello, which is a task and project management tool, and they're also using Google Sheets. So what was happening in their business was that they had a very kind of manual order process, and what happened was the order would get created in Trello, and they'd do that manually with all of the information that they had, and it was taking about 7 minutes for each order to get created in that manual way. So what they did was they started using Zapier to connect with their e-commerce platform, and in this case they were using a platform called PrestaShop. And what they did is they connected the information coming from PrestaShop through to Trello, so that every time an order came through their website, those details were then are now sent straight through to Trello, and the Trello card with all of the order details from the website come through automatically, and that information is also added to a Google Sheet. So we've got those two different steps, and those two different steps were automated. And I guess one of the really good things that they were able to do here, one of the really clever things, is that their e-commerce platform PrestaShop didn't actually connect directly with Zapier or with Trello. So, and this is one of the problems that we face sometimes with new technology, is we have multiple different applications, and they're not talking together, and they don't have public APIs, or they don't even have standard integrations on some of the platforms like Zapier. But what all of these platforms do is that they send email notifications. So that using that email notification, that's how we were able to connect the data together. From the email notification, we're able to take the details out of that notification and then send that through into Trello and also into Google Sheets. So the second Zap takes those details, and another step here that they're using to generate a ticket in their ticketing system, and in this case they're using Help Scout. And so then the customer service team can review and approve the order, and making sure that it all can be fulfilled. So the result of being able to implement this automation from a productivity and efficiency perspective is that it saved them 6 hours a week, which 6 hours they can use to do more more valuable things. It increased provided better customer service to their customers and created a better team experience. So the team are no longer having to do that manual work to create an order, which was just 7 minutes each and every time. So the next example that I've got is how a one-woman not-for-profit scaled to deliver thousands of meals to people in need, and this is a really cool story. So the non-for-profit is called Lasagna Love, and what they've done is they've used tools and automation to focus on what really matters most inside of their organization. So what we're doing to start off with is that to be able to provide these meals, they rely on having volunteers that they call lasagna mamas. And in order to set up the lasagna mamas, what they needed to do was they needed to send out links and welcome emails. They needed to be able to gather information to connect, to have all of that inside of their database. And what was happening to start off with is all of these things were being done manually, and was taking a whole lot of time. So using her website, which she's using a Squarespace website, and combining that with a Google Sheet and with Zapier, she was able to automate that process. So, so what happens now is that, instead of going through that manual process, when a new lasagna mama wants to join the team, she goes to a form on the website and fills that out, and Zapier sends that information through to the Google Sheet. It then also creates a bit.ly link that they can use to send a text message, and Zapier also automatically creates a custom welcome email that includes a link to a personalized Google Sheet, which stores the information that they need, and it also reorders the information and sends that information into the database. So, I guess the cool thing here is that, instead of spending time and energy on doing these manual tasks, we were able to use some of the tools that we're already using, and then adding some new tools to be able to streamline and speed up the process. So it's really quite amazing, what is possible. So, one of the things to just think about in your business is, what are some of those tasks that you're doing, day to day, in your business that you're repeating, and can we use some of the tools to to become more productive and more efficient. So look, the result from this particular work was that it saved 200 hours and created better like a bit of volunteer or customer experience, and made it much easier for for her and her team as well. Okay, so I see we've got a couple of things in the chat there. If you do have a question about any of the technology that you're using, please pop it in the chat. Happy to answer any questions that you have, or work through any technology problems that you're facing at the moment. So the next example that I've got is a Wellington sign business that is using some new technology to become more efficient. And this is quite an interesting business. It's a third generation family owned business. And if you've been in business for a little while, one of the things that I've noticed in working with lots of businesses is that for those businesses that have been operating for some time, you build up some different systems and some different processes that work. And depending on how long ago you started in your business, sometime or often those systems and processes can really benefit from applying some of the new tools and technologies and some of the new thinking to be able to create instant gains. So look, in this business, small team, a team of 5 people in the business, and many kind of manual different processes, and a lot of those were around the job quoting and job scheduling and job management. And as you would normally expect, most jobs kind of start with a phone call, and then there's information to record, there's jobs to be able to create, there's in this particular example, there were 3 or 4 different spreadsheets that were being used for each job, and there was quite a lot of duplication going on, and also quite a lot of paper being printed and passed around to different team members. So when we sat down and went through that, we went, okay, well, how can we use some of our tools to make this more efficient? So one of the key things that we did was we started using Xero, and I can see that a lot of you are using Xero inside of your business. And so one of the things that we started using the quoting function inside of Xero, so that when somebody made an inquiry, we could record that job information straight into a quote. We could email them that quote so that they could accept that online without us having to have just too much kind of email going back and forth. We could have it all in a digital document there. And also with that quote, we could also give them the ability to be able to accept that again, digitally without having to send a separate email. They could just click the accept button and we would have that recorded in our system. So, and the nice thing about us being able to set that up is that now when a customer accepts a quote, we're able to take that information, which has all the job information, and we're able to send that through to our task management system, which we're using ClickUp in this case. So all of that job information goes straight through to our ClickUp, our task management, and inside of ClickUp, we're able to manage scheduling the job. We're able to give all of the team, small team of 5, everybody can see and have access to all of the job information, also all of the job communication. So all of the emails that are associated, any documents that are associated with that job can all be in the one place, and everybody can see it. So it means that, for the guys who are going out to do the installation of the signs, again, they can see that on their phone. They've got it all there in one place. We can, we've got that scheduled. We can have that shared across, the different calendars, and it just has, made it so much easier for the team. And when you make it easier, it makes you more efficient and more productive. So the result from doing this work was, say, 2 hours a week, which is 100 hours a year, and it's improving the customer experience, and it's improving the team experience. The next example is a Christchurch marketing business, and there's a couple of different pieces of new technology that they're using to be more efficient. And again, you'll see a theme here. This is about replacing emails, about replacing data entry, and often it's about using new technology to sometimes replace or streamline a spreadsheet. So in this particular case, so this is Scott's marketing business. So when he, previously had inquiries come through, they'll come through in an email. That information is then being entered into a spreadsheet, and it's being manually managed. So the new way, using some of the tools and technology that Scott's using in his business, he's got a CRM system, and using Zapier, he's sending data from his CRM through to his task management system, which in this case, Scott's using Asana to manage those things, and that's automatically managing email communication to customers and keeping them up to date with what's happening with their projects and their jobs. And it's enabling them to focus more on the marketing work that they do, their communication with their customers, and in the background, their tools are doing some of the manual work that they used to have to do. So here's just a little bit more of the detail around how this is working. So what we wanted to be able to do was, when we wanted to be able to create a task inside of our task management tool, Asana, sorry, when the pipeline stage got changed inside of the CRM system. So what happens now is that every time the pipeline stage is changed inside of the CRM, it automatically creates a new task inside of Asana. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty simple, and makes a big difference to our efficiency and productivity. This is another. Do you have a question?
We do. We've got a question. So I thought I would just pop on. Yes. Fantastic, right?
Yeah.
So we've got a question here. It says, tell us about the mapping out process that you would recommend to identify areas that can have efficiencies apps applied to replace manual ones. I assume you might use a process like a journey map. Biggest hurdle for me is knowing what can be done and how to apply it. Thanks so much, Laura, for dropping that in.
Yeah, great question. So like a journey map is a great approach. I find that what works best depends a little bit on what people's personal kind of preference is to how they like to see different processes and systems. So I know quite a few businesses that I work with. They like to create a list or to write out a little bit of a mind map. So there are lots of different tools that you can use to potentially map out those processes. And I think the place that I start is that I start by writing a list of steps. So having a look at, and I always look to start with, what are the things that are being repeated most regularly. So I've got a little little tool that I can share, which is like a priority matrix for having a look at.
I'm muted. Cool. Did it to myself.
Yeah, so I've got a priority matrix, which I can share a link to.
Fantastic. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, will we put that in a learning summary maybe underneath the video? Would that be the best way to do it? You could send it to me later and I'll make sure that everyone can get a hold of that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That'd be good. So so I think there are a few different steps here. So one is having prioritizing which systems and processes you kind of should be focusing on first, because there are a lot of different systems and processes inside of all of our businesses, and not all of them give us the same kind of return out of doing that work. So it's important to prioritize that, and then the actual how-to of how you map them out is you just need to be able to get it down so that you can visually see what are all of the different tasks that need to happen. And they need to be mapped out with kind of all of the different options. So, typically it takes a little bit, often it takes a few cuts to kind of get deep down to, okay, well, if this happens, that needs to happen, or this needs to happen. And then once you've got that in play, then it, it it makes it much easier to go, okay, well, what's the trigger, or what's the action that needs to happen? So that's how I approach that. And there are some. I'll share those resources, and hopefully that will help you with your process.
Yeah, that'd be fabulous. And I do know that you often say to folks that they're welcome to get a hold of you as well. Thanks. Yeah. Fabulous insight. That you're happy to have a quick chat with people as well. So yeah. I'm sure at the end you're gonna like show us some of your contact details and stuff. And you can always find Andy on LinkedIn as well if you're not on LinkedIn. Yeah.
And also the link that I've got on my background here. So hardbasket.com/Zapier. By going to that link, you can book in a free 20-minute video call.
Yes. So kind. Yes.
Always keen to talk technology, systems, and processes. So yeah.
At least somebody is. No, absolutely. No, this is your area of expertise, and we really appreciate you lending out that bit of extra time. Sometimes a quick conversation can clear up a lot of misconceptions, or can give you the direction to know where you want to be moving in. So that's fabulous. I'll drop off again and let you keep on going.
Well, look, it's just one last thing to answer that question is sorry, I just thought of something else. So once you've mapped out those processes and you've kind of got your list there's a couple of things that I highly encourage people to do, and that is to look at how can you remove any duplication that's happening inside of your process. How can you potentially simplify what you're doing, and then how can you reduce the total cycle time, so kind of time from start to finish, and then after you've done those things, then we look at what automation we can apply to it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Andy. Wonderful.
So another example here for Scott's marketing business is that he's using a quoting tool called Quotient, and Quotient is a really fantastic quoting tool, especially if you're wanting to provide kind of more like a proposal type of quote, as opposed to a just kind of a list of products and services. And so when Scott provides a quote, and when that quote gets accepted, he wants to have that information get updated inside of his CRM system. So we have that. We now have that automated, and that also can start more emailed communications, both internally with the team, but also externally as well. So now we've managed to remove some of those manual steps of receiving the notification from Quotient and then having to update our other system. Again, the trigger is the quote gets accepted, and the action is to add a task into our CRM to take the next step. So result for Scott here was that saved 5 hours per week, 260 hours a year, and reduce the time, to manage the job. So, 5 hours a week to be able to do, more important things, or things that you enjoy more, make a massive difference. So I've got another Slido question for you, and just need to make sure that I've actually got this up and running. So just give me a second here. The question is, what's more important to you? And we've done this a few times now, so keen to understand what, can see if we get the same answers as we've had before. So, is time or money more important to you? And that's up and running now. So if you just go into Slido again and enter in, choose between those two options, saving time or saving money, and we'll come back and have a look at those answers pretty soon. So the next area I want to have a look at is just manually entering data from emails. This is a great opportunity to be able to become more productive and more efficient, and it's something that I see in most of the businesses that I work with, is that there's data coming through that we need from emails, and we need to enter it into a system or possibly a sheet somewhere. This example is sorry about that. A Christchurch recruitment business, and what they're doing is, so they receive some notifications that come through from email. In this case, they're coming through from Facebook, from one of the uses that they have for Facebook. And what was happening was that they were having to take that data and manually enter it into their CRM system, which in this case they're using a CRM called Bullhorn, which is specific for the recruitment business. And there was no way of being able to connect Facebook directly to this information. So what we were able to do using Zapier, and also using another tool called MailPerson, is we were able to take the email, we were able to filter out information from the email, and we were then able to manipulate that and then send that information straight into the CRM system. So this saved a whole lot of hours of manual data entry. And the other thing that it did was that what was meant to happen was that the team who received these notifications were meant to add the information into the CRM. But often that didn't happen because the team were busy doing the important work that they need to do day in, day out. So what was happening was that candidates were missing out on being followed up on, so missing out on jobs, and the business was missing out on those good candidates to fill those applications. So just if you've got data which is coming through to emails and you need that data to go somewhere into one of your tools, there's technology out there to be able to do that, really fast and efficiently. So in this example, this saved a massive amount of time and made it far better for the team. So okay, so yeah, same result as we've been seeing time and time again, is that saving time is really super important to people. So I guess the thing that I'd be really interested to hear about is what are some of the things that you're doing to use technology to save time in your business, and which love to get your feedback around which apps that you've started to use are saving you lots of time. Okay, we've got a couple more examples just to finish off. So this is an Auckland business using some great new technology. So they are using a tool called Intercom, and Intercom is a communications tool. So there's a number of different ways that you can use their platform to communicate with your customers, and they're using a pretty popular CRM system called HubSpot, which I know a few of you are using. And what they're wanting to make sure that they did was that when they had certain engagements with customers through Intercom, they're wanting to make sure that they got updated into HubSpot so that they communicated with them appropriately. And so using Zapier, what we were able to do is we were able to be able to push that data through to HubSpot. So what happens is that when there's a certain communication, a tag gets added inside Intercom. That then sets off an automation process, and the first step that we need to do is we need to find that particular contact inside of the HubSpot CRM. And then what we're doing here is on this step 3 here is that we're filtering to only continue this action if they meet a certain criteria. So in this case, we only want to update the contact inside of HubSpot if they're not already a customer. So if they're a prospect, or if they're at another stage in the pipeline but are not yet a customer, we want to update them. But if they're already at that point, we don't want to, because it will send them communication which is not appropriate. So it automatically gets updated inside a HubSpot. That then enables us to use our HubSpot workflows and processes to communicate with our customer. So, this particular process is saving 4 hours a week, and making it much easier for the team to do their to focus on their customer. So look, that's the last of the examples that I've got. Like I said before, I offer a free 20-minute call to find out how you can use technology to be more productive. You can book that straight into my calendar by going to hardbasket.com/Zapier. and yeah, love to hear about how you're using new technology in your business to be able to save time.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm just like checking. I'm checking to make sure that there wasn't question. Why isn't my video working? There we go. Come on. This new computer, it's just so fast. Just gotta be patient. I'm like, click, 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 click. It's not working, but it was. Yes, fantastic. Thank you so much, Andy. So here we have a comment: danger of saving time can be that you stretch existing tasks out to fill the time. Interesting. Yes, I guess mindset does come into play when we start doing things like this. Comment from Lara: I'll be mapping out my expected processes now. I identified triggers, repetitions, and then integrating apps. Thank you for this learning. Really interested in automation and efficiency. All new to me, but love the learning. Thank you for always such great information. Oh, you're very welcome, Andy. Look at those compliments coming through. Lovely. Great presentation and info. Thanks from Julia. Fantastic. I'm just going to pop over to the other platforms and just make sure, because I can see people watching, just make sure no one's dropping questions in that I haven't seen yet. And it looks like we're pretty good. I think one of the great things about your sessions is that you do kind of take us through. So there's possibly not as many questions. I would say if you have like a really individualized questions, do take advantage of this 20-minute call that you can have with Andy, because then he can really zero in on your specific industry, your business, what tools you're already using, because it is a little bit of a spider web, isn't it? When it comes to like often you're using this in collaboration with this and this and this. And so to get it into one picture, you kind of need all the information, don't you?
Yeah. Like it's not very often that you get exactly the same kind of mix of tools and problems. There are lots of common themes, but I think that's part of the challenge for us in using a lot of the new technology is that there's not kind of one recipe or one kind of help service that solves it all. And because the number of apps and their features are just they're growing so quickly, you kind of do a search now trying to solve a particular problem, and you know that if the answer that you're digging up is kind of more than a year old, it might be completely irrelevant, which can be challenging.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you mentioned in a previous session was that we should kind of do a 6-month review.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. So I'm sure that there's some of us in that basket that haven't looked at our app like tech stack in quite a while. Probably could use a little bit of an audit.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worthwhile, having a look, from regularly to see, see what your I guess to see what some of your most innovative competitors are doing. I think one of the things that I see a lot is that a new startup inside of your sector, if they're using the best of the latest technology, then they're likely to have some competitive advantage from using that technology over you if you're using technology that you chose, say 5 or 10 years ago. So, and these days it's no longer as you don't have to change everything in order to take advantage of new technology. That used to be a big barrier, but now what you can do is you can grab little pieces and you can connect them together to make sure that you keep that competitive advantage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Great advice as always. And looking forward to hopefully I don't know if we have any more sessions booked for this year. This might be our last one.
This is our last one for this year. So
well, it's been a lovely run with you this year. And yeah, I know that we'll still be in connection. So we're not saying goodbye. We're just saying until next time, Andy. And thank you again for your time. Thanks everyone for joining us here today on the Digital Boost How To Plus Q&A sessions that are Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. So yeah, I will hopefully see you in the future, Andy. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thanks very much.
Ka kite, everyone.
See ya.
See ya.